What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. We've got some unfortunate news today. We'll try to cover it in a with some respect here. Obviously, covering these topics are always a little dicey, but you know, if ABC, NBC, and Fox News are all going to cover it, then I'm going to cover it too. And especially because it was about 25 minutes up the road from me, roughly, or something like that. There's just something very bad that happened at a Christian school a week before Christmas, essentially. And there's a lot of news coming out, a lot of speculation. Right now, I want to be very careful about speculating on anything. There's, people, there's literally people posting fake news on Twitter. I want to do my job and try to debunk some of that stuff. I do think the fact that this was a private Christian school does bring back a lot of feelings about what happened in Nashville, although that was Catholic. That was still, a religious private school. This one here in Wisconsin was kind of for the well-off-ish. It was a K-12 school. So you had people all the way from, first, second grade, all the way up to seniors in high school. The individual who did this was a student. And in some of the reporting now, obviously the left and the right are both jumping to politicize this. Right now, many people believe, I want to say, hey, was it one of them? We don't know that. There's one clip that a lot of people are seizing on here. That is a little curious, police refusing to identify the gender of the person that did that. I'm going to show you everything we know, all the information we know, and then I'll probably do another update video later around 3:30 or 4:30 when they do their next press conference, if there's anything of note. There's a lot of people who have various theories about why we don't know certain pieces of information yet. Let me kind of explain that. We don't have a lot of the information because notifications still have to be made. This is still a very active scene, and police still have to literally notify parents, and they got to figure out, obviously they know who the person that did it was. They need to figure out what's going on with that. Was there a letter left? Was there, all this kind of stuff? I think it's safe to say if it was a white straight male, we'll definitely know any minute now what their name is and who they voted for or what their political affiliations or leanings were, even if they were in high school.
They never fired their weapons.
That is correct.
Correct.
Let's follow that one question.
I don't know if it's a male or female, but the police department did not fire their weapons. Thank you.
So he says, we're unable to tell anyone the gender yet. I don't know. Look, a lot of people are like, oh, here we go. Maybe that's the case. Maybe they're like, great. Also, maybe it was literally hard to tell. Maybe they were wearing a t-shirt and shorts and they removed their own head in the incident. I don't think this proves anything. I think right now it's 2:00 here in Wisconsin while I'm filming this. The first press conference was only an hour and a half ago. I would say that, certainly by dinner time, we'll probably know the individual who did it. Once you have a name, then you can start digging. Right now, we know that at least 3 have lost their lives, including the loser that did it. So I don't really care about that person. In the absolute latest, we also know that there are several people currently fighting for their lives. So that number may change. I think there's 5 or 6 that were sent to the hospital as well. I think police now are waiting to notify families before releasing their names. I think that's obviously the smart thing to do. Medics were training for this exact incident in nearby when a juvenile did what they were training to do. A medical team of the Madison PD were training for these type of incidents when they had to respond to that exact type of event. Maybe that means they were able to prevent things from getting further out of control. They left the training center immediately, came here in real time doing what they were practicing for. There's been 200 incidents of, people discharging on school grounds this year alone. and of course, everyone's going to politicize this. Right now, we know that it was a student that did it, so we know this wasn't somebody in their 30s or 40s who came in and did it. It probably wasn't somebody in first or second grade, I'm going to imagine. This is probably a teenager, and other pieces of information here on NBC sharing. People, basically everybody's been briefed. Biden has been briefed. They put it, the school, Abundant Life, put out a statement. Prayers requested today. We had an incident at ALCS. We are in the midst of following up. We will share the information as we are able. Please pray for our family. Again, 3 passed away, 6 injured. So that means two staff or students, as well as 6 injured. So who knows exactly what's going on, exactly who those other 6 are. We know that they were a student at the school. They're still investigating it. This is bad. Week before Christmas. Here you see, I don't want to hear any grabber talk about 2A control after today's incident in Wisconsin. You guys all applauded Luigi. Spare us your fake outrage and arm these schools. Yeah, I have yet to, and I will read the comments down below. I have really yet to hear or see a convincing argument why we don't have 3 armed officers at every school. If we can send billions to Ukraine, we can protect our kids. Schools have become soft targets, and there's a reason these cowards are always going to these schools. It's because they know they can just walk in and do whatever it is they want to do, and say what and I have yet to hear a difficult argument, or I'm sorry, a reasonable argument as to why we're not doing that. Every school shouldn't have just 1 resource officer. They should have 2 or 3, because guess what? This was a student at that school, and they would probably have known that, right? They probably would have known that, and they probably wouldn't have come to that school. Or if they did, they would have been neutralized probably much faster. A lot of people here, if you're one of those death worshiping freaks who applauded Luigi Mangione, then spare me your fake calls for control on today's school incident. The bullet flies both ways. Then you have people on the left, of course, politicizing it. Breaking: well-regulated militia does something terrible in Madison, Wisconsin. Used cheap thoughts and useless prayers are now being rushed to the scene. More on this soon to be forgotten and repeated story as it happens. Again, this would not have happened if there were armed agents at that school. That's just what I have not. If I would have not heard a single convincing argument anywhere. And look, are the odds at this is there any information right now online pointing about the motives? No. Certainly with the level of social media, if the fact that this student went to that school, I suspect very soon we will have a name. Simply because, every other senior, junior, sophomore in that school all has a cell phone. They all knew who this was. It was a private school. There's only 300 students. So everybody knew who this individual was. The older kids probably did. So, somebody somewhere has tweeted out who this person is, or shared on Facebook who did it, or they told their parents who did it. We will have almost certainly an identity very, very soon. But again, I'm not willing to prescribe or ascribe to any kind of conspiracies at this point, because, notifications have to be made. They're not going to release the name of any of these people. I know it sounds sick, but I'm really hoping that it was like, people who were fighting with them fighting with this loser or something like that. I just hope it isn't a bunch of little kids. And it's wild. I don't know why we can't talk about this stuff. Here's Brooklyn Dad on cue. It's the effing weapons. Again, the left immediately seizing on this while the bodies are still warm to talk about their political ideologies. Look, if this person ends up being LGBTQ, are we going to talk about that? Yep. But I'm not jumping to conclusions. I still believe very strongly that if they wanted to protect these schools, you need to put 2 to 3 resource officers in every school, and this would stop or be drastically reduced. There's no way that somebody just walks through, walks in the parking lot unconfronted. That's just not what's going to happen. So the whole situation is sad. I'm hoping for more information. I'm hoping we find out that they got stopped at the door, and that some heroic teachers or principal fought to protect those kids. But at the end of the day, that should be the job of a resource officer, and they should be getting them. A lot of people falsely reporting that 5 people have passed away so far. It's not 5, it's 3. A lot of people sharing, speculative or outright fake information right now. That's why I'm trying to be really careful. You already know who it is. Yeah, I suspect I know who it is. But we'll see. We'll see. There's only 300 students, though. I suspect we'll find out real quick. Make sure you subscribe or follow, and the second we have a reasonable update, I will get it updated to you today. I'll stay in the office a little bit late so we can follow this story. We'll talk to you again real soon.